Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to getting truly well informed. Today we're taking on a really fascinating journey, actually. We're cutting through the noise on two very distinct subjects, our mission. To unpack these topics, give you the real story, the informed perspective. First up, we're diving into something that's been all over the place online, this almost mythical claim about Saddam Hussein. You know, the mystery around his death. We've got social media videos, historical accounts, lots to sift through. Then we switch gears completely. We're heading inside one of the world's most revered and, frankly, enigmatic structures.
Yeah.
The Kaaba in Mecca. Forget the usual misconceptions. Our sources give us incredible detail. The structure, the spiritual side, it's amazing history.
Absolutely. And, in this age of just information overload, being able to sift through it all, find the core fact is crucial. These sources we have, they're pretty powerful. They let us go beyond just reporting and actually reveal some surprising truths, deepen our understanding. So yeah, let's get into these stories, see what we find.
Okay, let's start with Saddam Hussein, that enduring mystery. First, this incredible narrative that's circulating, you've probably seen it, that viral video. It claims he's alive. Saved by divine power, apparently, and his execution back in '06. Just a look-alike. I mean, it sounds almost unbelievable, right? But it's really gained traction. So what do our sources tell us about where this comes from, and how do they actually portray Saddam?
Well, the sources we looked at paint this really almost legendary picture of him. He's described as a lion-hearted ruler, someone whose name alone made enemies tremble. The narrative positions him as someone who taught the Ummah, that's the global Muslim community, to stand firm against oppression. And crucially, that he never mortgaged the honor and freedom of the Ummah. Under him, Iraq supposedly became the center of knowledge, industry, and education. Flourishing mosques, schools, hospitals, the works. He's even credited with fostering a new generation of Muslim scientists, giving the Ummah modern missile technology. Basically, the strength to stand on its own feet, as the source puts it.
Yeah.
And this rise, the sources claim, it made America and Israel tremble.
Right, so a very powerful, almost heroic portrayal to begin with, a protector figure. So what does this narrative say happened next, his downfall?
Yeah, the story of his downfall is just as dramatic in these accounts. It claims that, when this height of truth, as they call it, became a problem for his enemies, the plotting started. We hear about sanctions, bombings, and then ultimately this conspiracy-driven death sentence, all designed, supposedly, to silence the brave protector of the Ummah. And the sources really insist that Allah personally protected him, that U.S. and Israeli plans kept failing because of this divine shield. They even detail these protective measures like hundreds of lookalikes to confuse enemies. And apparently every bit of food and drink was medically checked.
Wow, hundreds.
That's what's claimed. And his dedication is painted as total. He devoted his entire life to the honor of the Ummah, the protection of his land and religious interests. Rarely slept peacefully, always trusted in Allah. That's the picture.
Okay, so connecting that back. Iraq's progress, the knowledge, the tech you mentioned, this clearly created fear, according to these sources. Fear in places like America. What happened then?
Exactly. That perceived threat is key. According to the source, America feared Iraq becoming, potentially a nuclear power, feared the Ummah regaining strength. And this fear, the claim goes, led America to fabricate a false story and attack Iraq. We hear about baseless accusations, murder, possessing poisonous weapons. The source then describes what it calls a so-called court drama. Allegations that his lawyers were assassinated, the judge changed right before the verdict, that kind of thing. And then the death sentence, November 5th, 2006. Explicitly on American instruction, according to the source, leading to the execution on December 30th, 2006, just a day before Eid al-Adha in Baghdad.
And the description of his final moments in the source, it's incredibly vivid, powerful. Portrays him showing immense faith and courage. He performed ablution, prayed, recited the Quran. His last words reported as Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest. Holding the Quran, a tasbih, prayer beads, and a prayer mat. Handed the Quran over respectfully to the executioner. And then it says he smiled as he departed to Allah. The source makes a point about the date too. 10th Zilhijjah. Eid al-Adha, the day of sacrifice, as if he sacrificed his own life. But even with this detailed, widely reported event, the narrative persists. The source notes that many people today still refuse to accept he was martyred. They stick to that belief it was a look-alike. So what about that video, the one supposedly proving he's alive?
Right. That brings us back to the viral video you mentioned at the start. This is important.
Yeah.
The video, the one that popped up again maybe 18 years later claiming he's alive, it's actually not new. Our source confirms it's from way back in 2003, from a time when Saddam apparently traveled to Saudi Arabia, spent time in the desert. And the voiceover you hear in that viral clip, described as false and edited. His last actual camera interview, the source says, was in 2004. So the reality, according to the source material, is clear. His martyrdom in Baghdad, a day before Eid al-Adha in 2006, is the reality. And this whole episode, it really highlights something huge, doesn't it? The sheer power of misinformation today. How social media, as our source puts it, has kind of demolished the wall between truth and lies. It's just blurred everything.
That really is the critical takeaway here, isn't it? It's more than just one video. It shows how these really powerful narratives, especially ones about heroism or maybe divine intervention, can just take root and, well, defy the actual facts. It makes you think why certain claims resonate so much, even when the evidence points the other way. And it really hammers home how important it is for, well, for all of us to check things out before we share them. Because, like our source says, seeking and sharing truth, it's a big responsibility in this digital world. Spreading lies is a sin, but concealing truth is too.
Okay, so from the shifting sands of online claims, historical narratives, let's turn now to something solid, timeless, universally revered, the Kaaba. We want to get past the usual myths, hidden idols, secret stuff inside. Our mission here is to take you inside, reveal the facts about this sacred space, Baitullah, the House of Allah in Mecca.
Yeah, and the spiritual significance is just immense. You have millions of Muslims performing tawaf, circling it day and night, nonstop. And for about 1,400 years now, since the Prophet Muhammad instructed it, it's been the Qibla, the direction everyone faces for prayer worldwide. Our sources describe it as the purest, most blessed, and most influential place on earth. It's more than just a worship center. It's a symbol of monotheism. And looking at it from the outside, it's striking, isn't it? That simple, powerful, rectangular shape. It stands about 43 feet high, so what, around 13 meters?
Roughly, yes.
The total area inside is about 1,300 square feet. Externally, it's about 12 meters by 10 meters.
Right, and that open area around it where people do the tawaf, it's called the mataf. And you also have that semicircular wall nearby, the Hijr Ismail. It's about 8 or 9 meters away from the main Kaaba structure.
Okay, so let's go inside. Take us on that virtual tour. What are the key features?
Okay, step inside. The first thing supporting the roof are 3 incredibly strong wooden pillars. They're considered some of the world's strongest wood. Put there by Abdullah bin Zubair, maybe 1,300 years ago. Dark brown, quite thick. The girth is about 150 centimeters, thickness around 44 centimeters. Pretty substantial.
So really solid foundational pillars.
Exactly. And directly opposite the main door, there's a mihrab. It's a niche marking the spot where Prophet Muhammad himself prayed inside the Kaaba. Abdullah bin Zubair also prayed there. The account from Bilal says he backed against one wall facing the opposite one, about 3 cubits away.
So these aren't just structural elements, they're deeply historical markers too. What else is inside?
Precisely. To the right of the main entrance, there's another door, smaller, covered by a curtain. This leads to stairs going up to the roof.
Stairs to the roof. Interesting.
Yeah, it's originally wooden. They were replaced back in 1987, that's 1397, in the Hijri calendar, with circular aluminum stairs, about 50 steps, so roughly 5 stories high.
Wow. And the walls, the ceiling?
They're covered in this strong and beautiful marble, according to the sources, with really exquisite designs. And hanging on the inner walls and the ceiling, you have these green silk curtains. They go up about 7 meters high.
Green silk curtains inside.
Yes. And these curtains aren't plain. They have inscriptions, the Kalima Tayyaba, the Declaration of Faith, and also verses from the Quran, specifically from Surah Al-Imran, verse 96, and Surah Baqarah, verse 144. Significant verses.
And are they permanent?
They're changed out every 3 to 5 years, typically. Also inside, there's a box. Seems to hold instructions, symbols related to the Kaaba. The floor itself is described as very clean and shiny white marble, but with some light brown or reddish pieces mixed in. The roof has 2 layers. And there's a small hole in it covered with glass, just to let in some light. They only open it during the washing ceremony or when they change the kiswa, the outer covering.
Any other objects or feature?
A few more things, yeah. There are 8 historical carved stones. These date back to the 6th century Hijri, so around the 12th century AD. There's a table used for perfumes, incense, that kind of thing, and 2 red sort of lantern-shaped lamps hanging from the roof. The whole space inside. It can hold about 50 people comfortably.
50 people, and you mentioned earlier, no windows, no electric lights.
That's right, no windows at all, and no electric lights. Just that one single door, which is gold-plated.
That door sounds pretty special itself. Tell us about that.
Oh, it is. Our sources say it's made from special strong wood, teak wood, and it's adorned, really covered, with gold plates.
Gold plates. How much gold are we
A
talking?
lot. The cost mentioned is 13.4 million Saudi riyals, and it apparently used about 280 kilograms of pure gold.
280 kilos. That's incredible.
It is. The construction was overseen by Shah Khalid bin Abdulaziz, and remarkably, it was finished in just 1 year.
That level of craftsmanship, that expense. It really speaks volumes about the Kaaba's significance, doesn't it?
It really does. A testament to the devotion it inspires. And that devotion stretches way back through this incredibly rich history of construction and, well, reconstruction. It's been rebuilt, according to the sources, about 12 times due to floods, fires, structural issues over the
Yeah,
millennia.
from time, so it's evolved.
Definitely. The very first construction, the source says, was by Prophet Adam, by Allah's command, with the angel Gabriel showing him the spot. Then, after the great flood of Noah's time destroyed that original building, though the foundations apparently remained, Prophet Ibrahim and his son Prophet Ismail rebuilt it, again by Allah's command. This is mentioned in the Quran, Surah Baqarah, verse 127.
So truly ancient roots, but then multiple rebuilds. What were some of the really key ones later on?
Well, a significant one happened before Prophet Muhammad's prophethood, when he was about 35 years old. The Quraysh tribe, who were custodians then, rebuilt it because it had cracks, water damage. And they famously decided to only use halal earnings for it. You know, money earned lawfully, no interest, no illicit funds.
That's a specific detail.
It is.
Yeah.
But interestingly, they didn't build it exactly on the original foundation laid by Ibrahim. They left that semicircular area, the Hijr Ismail, outside the main structure.
Oh, okay.
Then later, the fourth major construction was by Abdullah bin Zubair. He did rebuild it on the original foundation, the one shown by the Prophet, including the Hijr Ismail area.
So he brought it back to the original footprint.
Exactly. But then, not long after, the fifth construction, led by Hajjaj bin Yusuf, actually reverted it back to the Quraysh structure, excluding Hijr Ismail again.
So back and forth on that point.
Right. And this connects to the bigger picture, because the Kaaba we see today, its basic structure is largely from Hajjaj bin Yusuf's time. There have been subsequent repairs, renovations, of course, but that design has essentially remained. And this constant rebuilding, it's not just structural maintenance. It really speaks to the Kaaba being a living monument, constantly renewed, reflecting this enduring spiritual journey. It shows how a physical place can embody centuries of continuous devotion.
What an absolutely incredible journey we've taken today. Seriously, from trying to pick apart modern hoaxes about a historical figure,
Yeah.
all the way to uncovering these really intricate historical architectural truths about such an ancient sacred space.
It really does push us, doesn't it? To keep thinking critically, to always look for that verified knowledge, whether it's about some claim going viral right now or digging into the deep history of places like the Kaaba.
Indeed. So here's something to think about as you go about your day. What really stands out to you about the power of belief versus the search for concrete truth? How do those moments of deep faith, like the one described in Saddam Hussein's final moments in the source, how do they resonate across time and cultures? And how does that contrast with all the misinformation swirling around in our digital age? Just something to mull over.